Good evening, Dhamma friends. Wish you the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem. Today is Saturday, December 18th. We are going to begin this evening Sutta studies. To begin with, I am going to recite the Namo Tassa 3 times in Pali and also in English to respect the Buddha. Please join with me in paying homage to the Supreme Buddha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Friends in Dhamma, we begin Sutta studies by wishing you good health and peace of mind, because we are facing another terrible storm of COVID-19 virus. I hope you have enough knowledge and courage and also Dhamma to cope with this difficult situation, as you did throughout 20 and 21 so far. I hope you continue your good practices to make yourself safe and also your friends and family members. No matter what happened to us in the society, we as compassionate humans develop kindness, compassion, and also the Dhamma in us for our benefit and all living beings. That is the only solutions we can have in our life to deal with situation. Most importantly, to find the right tune of the Dhamma or Nirvana. Today, according to the topic I selected, we are going to discuss Mahadevan Sutta of the Dignikaya. It is Sutta number 15 of the Dignikaya. As you know, Dignikaya contains long discourses. Mahadevan Sutta is not only long, but it is also difficult in the sense of its facts, because it talks about the Paticcasamuppada in a different way. This sutta has 6 sections. If you read the sutta, you can find these 6 sections and start with dependent origination, Paticcasamuppada. It shows how things, especially those links of the Paticcasamuppada formula, dependently arising. And then we have Attapanyati. Buddha talks about with Venerable Ananda the description of self. Then right after that, as the third section, the Buddha talks about the na attapanyati, means the total opposite of the second one, non-description of self. In that, Buddha talks about the way the self is not going to be. And then the 4th section is about Atta Samanupassana. In Pali, it means consideration of self, how we rightly investigate about the self, of the self, so that we can find those important things in that 4th section. When we comes to 5th one, we have 7 station of consciousness. In Pali, it's called Sapta Vinyati, where the consciousness lands and get a hold onto. They are very detailed, so that reading doesn't make sometimes sense, but one after the other you have to read. Don't discourage of reading these discourses when you find it's difficult, because it is how it happens. When you, with the first reading, you don't get many things, but with the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, sometime reading the sutta with something else, interpretation makes sense a lot. The last section of the Mahadevan Sutta is Atta Vimukha, 8 emancipation. So one can make his mind or her mind, liberated from through 8 ways. Into various stages of mind. So we have that in the sixth section. I'm not going to cover each of these because it's too long, but I must pay attention to the first one, Paticcasamuppada of the Dignikaya, of the Nidana Sutta, Mahanidana Sutta of the Dignikaya. Mahanidana Sutta, by its name, is called the Greater Discourse on Paticcasamuppada, causation, if I take the Bodhi's translation. So it sounds like the Buddha talks about the reasons and causes of everything. But you are not surprised to find out those 12 links in the formula, because even if we make these points of the title like Mahanidana and so forth, you find the same thing in other discourses. But why this sutta is named as Mahanidana? I think it's a complete and profound exposition of the Buddha. It includes other sections also, and perhaps the discourse in each point, Buddha takes long time to discuss about each and every aspect. This may be the reason why this discourse is Mahanidana. As I said, it is lengthy discourse. It includes many things, and in each point, Buddha takes some time to describe it. Let me begin this with the introduction to the sutta, so that you can see something important. Thus, I have heard on one occasion the Buddha was living among Kurus, where there was a town of the Kurus named Kammasadhamma. As you see, this place, this village is significant because the Buddha delivered Mahasatipatthana Sutta and some other deep discourses in Kammasadhamma. It is said in the commentary to Mahasatipatthana Sutta that this village is significant because people in that village, in that country, were much more intelligent than other people, much more mindful than other people in the country because of the practice of Satipatthana. So this village is significant, and the Buddha delivered Mahanidana Sutta in that village, not for people, not for many monks, but with Venerable Ananda. Then Venerable Ananda approached the Buddha, paid homage to him, and sat down to one side. Seated, he said to the Buddha like this: "It is wonderful and marvelous, Venerable Sir, how this dependent arising is so deep and appears so deep, yet to myself it seems as clear as can be." This is very famous among many Sutta lovers and those devotees and people who have read about Paticcasamuppada. What Venerable Ananda wanted to say, that I understand Paticcasamuppada and it is clear to me. It seems deeper, but I feel that I can understand it, its entirety. Its whole scope is very clear to me. That's what Venerable Ananda said. Perhaps whatever the Buddha said so far about Paticcasamuppada would be in Venerable Ananda's mind as discourses, gathas, and so forth. That's why Venerable Ananda is so confident about Paticcasamuppada. But in my personal understanding, Buddha wanted to give a message to other disciples also, that perhaps you have clear understanding about Paticcasamuppada, but there are many things that you cannot understand in this universe with regard to cause and effect. So I think sometime Buddha address such things. Not only he want to, give a message to the particular monk or layperson, but for everyone. So that's what I think here. In addition to that, it is for sure that Paticcasamuppada is deep. Why we want to say this? Because Buddha has clearly said that if one sees Paticcasamuppada, he has or she has seen Dhamma very well, and there would be a kind of enlightened state, at least Sotapanna for that person, if he or she understand Paticcasamuppada very well, because it is such a Dhamma element in the Buddha's teaching. Then, as you can expect, the Buddha said here, don't say so Ananda. Do not say so Ananda. This dependent arising, Ananda, is deep and it appears deep. Because of not understanding and not penetrating this Dhamma, Ananda, this generation has become like a entangle, like a knotted ball of thread, like matted rushes and reeds, and does not pass beyond samsara with its plane of misery, unfortunate destination, and lower realms. So, friends, what the Buddha said is very clear. It is that we all surrounding this samsara because of not understanding Paticcasamuppada. It is not seems deep, it is not seemingly deep, but it is deep, it is profound. Buddha confirmed that it is deep and very profound because of not understanding this Paticcasamuppada. Humans, divine beings, Brahma, animals, and other living beings, go this cycle of birth and death. So it is very clear that beings born into hell, four kinds of unhappy destination because of not knowing Paticcasamuppada. And even as a human, as a deity, as a Brahma, you are going to reborn in those places, realms, because of not knowing, not practicing Paticcasamuppada. Ananda, if one is asked, so now we can see from the discourse that Buddha wanted this issue very clear, that why we are here. So he make the point that we all are in the samsara, not because of anything else, but because of not understanding Paticcasamuppada. So Buddha want to explain each and every simple things with reasons. When we come to sermon, we might take some deep analysis of the Buddha just to explain Paticcasamuppada, just because that's how tradition goes. But here the Buddha takes something simple. He goes from simple things to deeper things to make the point. That's why the Buddha is such a great teacher. Buddha could have told Venerable Ananda that I'm the Buddha and I know everything. There is nothing that I could not know. I can see everything. But without saying such a statement, he said that look at Ananda, humans and other living beings. What is the reason for aging and death? Just find out why living beings experience aging, decay, and dying. Right? That is the thing we need to consider. If we die and day by day we come to death with aging and also sicknesses, it's a problem for us. Even the Bodhisattva started thinking about his renunciation with such facts in human life. Right? So Buddha said, Buddha said to Venerable Ananda, if one is asked, are aging and death due to specific condition? One should say they are through what condition is their aging? They are through with birth as condition. There is aging and death. So the statements Buddha make in the first section of the Mahadevan Sutta seem simple, but we have to think why we are here, and it begins with aging and death. So simple, but very important to think again. Aging and death in human, in other living beings because of birth. Birth as human, birth as animals, birth as divine beings, birth as Brahma, birth as hell beings. If there is any birth, no matter what name it is used, with that birth we have aging and expiration as well. Expiration means death. So if one is asked, is birth due to a specific conditions? Ananda, you should answer them, you should say them, with existence as conditions, there is birth. Now you can see that the same formula we every day talk about Paticamuppada is here. But Buddha started the explanation from aging, and aging is because of birth, and birth is because of existence, bhava. And bhava, if somebody asked Anand this question, is existence due to a specific condition? You should say, with clinging as conditions, there is existence. The very reason for existence is upadana, the clinging. We can discuss later what exactly exists. Actually, the attachment or clinging exists, so that the birth happens. When there is birth, aging and death takes place. So the existent karma, bhava, rupa bhava, arupa bhava, we talk about them in details. But basically, exists what? Exists clinging. If clinging happens and we never let it exist, that's how the chain is broken there. So when clinging arises, we become we become a part of it. It invades us so powerful, so that the existence of kama, tanha, and kamupadana, dittyupadana, and other upadanas exist, so that there is existence. You claim as I, me, and myself, so that there is the birth happens immediately, and then aging and death takes place. Due to the depth of Paticcasamuppada in this manner, we have the sense in the teaching that this is the explanation how a new birth happens from previous life to this life, and from this life to next life. That is basically that is coming basically from Attakatha, and it is acceptable in a way, because we can see how beings die and reborn and die again and get another birth. So we can see those scenarios of cycle with the basis of this formula. At the same time, very important thing is how this happened at this present moment. When upadana or clinging is there, how could immediately existence arises, and how existence make momentary birth, and then due to birth, what kind of aging and dying takes place at this moment is something to discuss. Then the questions and answers are going on. Actually, Buddha asked the question and himself answered the question. That is how this question and answer in the first section goes. Ananda, if one is asked, is clinging due to specific condition, you should say with craving as condition, there is clinging. I will read all together, then we can discuss if there is anything to discuss. Ananda, if one is asked, is craving due to a specific condition, you should say with feeling as conditions, there is craving. Ananda, if one is asked, is feeling due to a specific condition, you should say with contact as conditions, there is feeling. Anand, if one is asked if is contact due to a specific condition, you should say with nama rupa or mentality and materiality as conditions, there is contact. Anand, if one is asked if mentality and materiality due to a specific conditions, you should say with consciousness as conditions, there is mentality and materiality. Anand, if one is asked, is consciousness due to a specific condition, you should say with mentality and materiality as conditions, there is consciousness. You might assume that it goes to Sankara and Avidya, but it reversed there. Let me read the last one. Is consciousness due to a specific conditions? Is there very close as specific conditions for consciousness? According to the 12-link formula, Sankara is the main conditions for consciousness to arise. But here it is different. You should say, Anand, with mentality and materiality as conditions, there is consciousness. So here the Buddha said, Nama Rupa is the condition for consciousness, Vijnana, and Vijnana is the condition for Nama Rupa. Buddha summarized this whole, thing once again right after that. Thus, Ananda, with mentality and materiality as conditions, there is consciousness. Okay. With consciousness as conditions, there is mentality and materiality. With mentality and materiality as conditions, there is contact. With contact as conditions, there is feeling. With feeling as conditions, there is craving. With craving as conditions, there is clinging. With clinging as conditions, there is existence, bhava. With existence as conditions, there is birth. And with birth as conditions, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, despair come to be. Such is the origin of this entire mass of suffering. So friends, if you need to say something here, with anything you quickly thought, please take your time. So what exactly significant here to me is that I take this formula and continue to think over and over. In elsewhere in Satipatthana, Nidana Samyutta of Samyutta Nikaya, Buddha has said clearly that this would be a meditation too. That means you take as nimitta, the Patisampada is nimitta, and you think about it. And with experience and also knowledge, you can add many things during this reflection so that your mind get into samadhi, and then you know what exactly we can do with the samadhi. So instead of only reciting the avidya paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana, you can have that, you can turn it to a meditation. And if you, because you take jara, jati, jara, marana, the jara, marana. So your mind is now working with jara, marana a lot. We die and we experience decay, and you can see that from other people and also other living beings. It's shocking for someone who is who has attachment too much, seeing. But for a person who wants to get out of this problematic life cycle with suffering, with all kinds of suffering, reflecting Jara Marana is providing some release. And then birth as a human is not a solution. Birth as a divine being or Brahma is not a solution. He understands, she understands. So that you go to investigate each factor of 12 link formula here, not 12 link, 10 link. And then in each level, you understand what upadana is from your experience, what craving is. So you have a lot of knowledge, developed there about craving and upadana. Then if there are places you cannot clearly see, like contact, vijnana, namarupa, some deep, very subtle things. But with this reflection as a meditation, you can actually gain some confidence that you know it, that you experience it, so that there are so many things that you can do with the Paticcasamuppada investigation as a form of meditation. So why did the Buddha say this, that mentality and materiality make or becomes the conditions for vijnana, consciousness, and consciousness in turn made mentality and materiality. I think if you have read those discourses like Madhupindika and the suttas where how sense bases meet sense object, and how consciousness arises related to sense bases, and then how the rest of the process goes forward, you can understand this situation in the Paticcasamuppada. Practically living of our mind or birth of mind start from meeting sensory experiences. Or let me clear this. When the senses meet respective sensory experiences, there is consciousness, and as you know, that is the contact, phassa, and that makes feeling, sanya, and all these mind-making things happen. So the birth of mind, if we talk about the origination of mind, happens in the salayatana, in the six sense bases. So then we attachment or detachment, whatever things happen due to the investigation, due to the way the person thinks, due to the way the person understand his mind or not. If one understand that this is how things, thinking happens, there is a possibility for that persons to stop craving for feeling, and then rest of the negative links are gone. And if one doesn't understand anything about it, he might develop craving, attachment, and all kinds of suffering. So the beginning or the starting point is the senses. So with that in mind, we can see that why the Buddha said here vijnana is created by namarupa, and namarupa is created by vijnana. Because without sensory objects for senses, how could vijnana come into existence? With meeting senses and sensory experiences, there we have the birth of vijnana. In the what happens in salayatana, this whole process happened. And nama is there, when the senses are active, they take those information, and then consciousness immediately arises together with this first step, consciousness arises, and without any time lapse, there is Nama there and also Rupa. Nama is accepting Rupa and Rupa is manifested because of Nama. So we can see that Vijnana has been, accepting. Vijnana should be there for eyes, for per se, to accept, to take those colors and pictures in. And as soon as the Vijnana does that, Nama Rupa come into existence. When we talk about Nama, there is Rupa. That is the manifestation of, aggregates. So I don't know whether you understand the way I explain it, but I make it very clear that this is the beginning. And if the person has ignorance, if the person doesn't know what this means, he take it with ignorance and make new sankara there. Sankara is not anything else but those all kinds of steps in the process is called sankara. We have a different name, in one explanation for sankara it is punyabi sankara, apunyabi sankara, anenjabi sankara. In another explanation it is said kaya sankara, vachi sankara, chitta sankara. So whatever, basically, if the person has ignorance as the dominating quality of his mind, he would definitely create those punyabi, apunyabi, or whatever sankara. But if the person doesn't have any signs of ignorance, he doesn't make any sankara there because he doesn't have ignorance there. So why the Buddha said this type of reverse from Vijnana and Nam Rupa, Buddha wanted to make it practical. Buddha wanted to show us how one begin it's his or her process of living. So that is what I wanted to share before we move forward. I think you are waiting to talk. If I'm not wrong, you want to say something? If there is no one, I would read one or two paragraph about how the Buddha explained again in the discourse aging and death. Because earlier he said in short what is the reason for aging and death, and then you should say it is because of birth. Now Buddha has taken these factors of formula again and explained in detail. It was said, with birth as condition there is aging and death. How that is so, Ananda, should be understood in this way. Now Buddha is going to explain them again. If there were absolutely and utterly no birth of any kind anywhere, if there were no birth of any being of any sort into any state, then in the complete absence of birth, with the cessation of birth, would aging and death be discerned? Certainly not, Venerable Sir. If there, simply it is said, if there is no birth at all, birth as human, birth as divine being, birth as Brahma, birth as animals, birth as ghost, asura or hell, if there is no such birth, and we cannot talk about aging and death, because there is no one to experience aging and death. Therefore, Ananda, this is the cause, source, origin, condition for aging and death, namely birth. In the present moment, when one attains to full arahantship, it is said that he or she end birth. Things have been done. There is nothing to be done with regard to birth, death, sorrow, labor. And that is how the explanation come in the suttas. What does happen there? If when one attains to arahantship, he or she ends birth. One answer is that he or she ends any future birth, because the reasons for future birth has been eradicated. The other answer I would add is that he has or she has ended craving and attachment. There is no momentary birth as well. Birth, metaphorically, is not only a being's new birth, but we talk about birth of ideas, birth of feelings, birth of perception, birth of upadana, birth of new craving, and there are no such thing of that person's mind, so that momentary birth of ideas, of mind, of physical body doesn't happen. Of course, this physical body creates, necessary things for living. Body. If I were a doctor, I could have a better explanation about how the physical body is. A part of the physical body dies in each moment and get new cells and things like that. But I'm not good in that. But what I say here is that just this mind has stopped creating new karma, new sankara, no sankara. That's why we call visankaragata. Karma has completely changed. The Arahant does just karma without any results. So that's why I'm saying that the birth of ideas, birth of relinking thought processes has been completely done. So when the Buddha said, when we come to the present moment with this teaching, and what does the Arahants do when he or she attain to enlightenment, he has stopped the possibility of future birth completely. And at the same time, how he did that? He did that because of putting an end to those mentalities. So that's how I understand, and if you agree, it would be okay, and if you disagree, it would be okay too. So then, as I said, I go to another one, birth. So Buddha talks about birth. It was said, said earlier, Buddha said, with existence as condition, there is birth. So for the condition for birth is bhava, existence. How that is so Ananda should be understood in this way. If there were absolutely and utterly no existence of any kind anywhere, that is no sense sphere existence, no fine material existence or immaterial existence, kama bhava, rupa bhava, arupa bhava, as we all know, then in the complete absence of existence, with the cessation of existence, would birth be discerned? Certainly not, Venerable Sir. Therefore, Ananda, this is the cause, source, origin, and condition for birth, namely existence. So, birth is happening. The proximate cause for birth is existence, bhava, kama bhava. I simply turn this in this way. We like pictures we see, we like some sounds, we have things we like very much, and we want them to continue. For example, if we look at a drama which we like most, we want it to, we never want it to end. We want to continue. When advertisement is there, we don't like it. When somebody come and change the channel, we don't like it, because we like that story going on. It means our karma, sensual desire should continue. We like it. So that is the existence of sensual pleasure. You like existing of your sensual desire. You like that drama to continue. You like that song to continue. You like warm weather to continue. you dislike cold weather, cold winter to continue, right? If you like particular thing and if you wish to continue it, that is called kama bhava. You like that to exist. When we come to rough level of this, you like to be a human who has all facilities, and you like to be a human where there is no problem, and you like to be a divine being because the suffering in human existence is much more than divine abode. So you like to be like that. You like to be an arahant because you reject suffering. Be wishing to be an arahant just because you don't like suffering could be a kama bhava, or expecting any type of bhava. Determination to end suffering and get out of it is different from wishing yourself to be having so much desire in heart to be an arahant. So it's very subtle. I'm not sure whether you understand what I'm saying. Of course, there are very good, knowledgeable people here who can understand, not because of my explanation, but because they have the potential to get this point. So existence means maintaining levels of craving in a subtle way. That's how the birth happens. That's how you make this fact to create birth. How this birth, existence is so powerful because attachment behind it support it. So friends, therefore, Ananda, this is the cause, source, origin, and condition for birth, namely existence. Let me read this one too. It was said, Ananda, with clinging as conditions, there is existence. How that is so, Ananda, should be understood in this way. If there were absolutely and utterly no clinging of any kind anywhere, here we see 4 kinds of clinging. Then in the complete absence of clinging, with the cessation of clinging, would existence be discerned. Because when one of these 4 clinging is not there, or all of them, we cannot expect existence. With 1 or 4 clinging, we can expect existence. But without any type of clinging, we cannot expect existence. Therefore, Ananda, this is the source, this is the cause, origin, and condition for existence, namely clinging. When the examples I took, the watching a drama, beautiful drama you like. So you have attached to views, you have attached to scene of it. That is called kama upadan. And you appreciate it because it is a masterpiece of drama and art. So you have a view about it. You attach to your view that it is the best drama, it is the best actor. And kamupadana, dittyupadana. When you have kamupadana and dittyupadana, you accept the fact that it is me who see the drama, and it is my idea. You have completely accepted the fact that you exist. Attavada. And what is the other one? Upadana, precepts and observances. So in that examples I took, we can see that you have clinging to some ways of pleasing your senses, your mind through senses, and then that's what you expect to exist. I told you earlier that what you want to exist is something you attach to. So kama bhava, rupa bhava, arupa bhava. That is how we categorize the existence bhava, and in that we have attachment inside of inside of them. We have attached to every sensory experiences. And in Rupaloka and Arupaloka, we have attached to form, we have attached to formless state. So existence of clinging is called existence again. Any questions, any regards, any additions?
Bante, so the existence, in other words, you're saying it's changing from moment to moment. Say, now we are existing in this realm right now, listening to this. So our existence, our thought process is now, if we kind of suddenly, if I die in this moment, our existence here will create, depending on our karma, because I like to listen to this talk, or I have a clinging or predilection for this. So I'll be existing according to this creation of this becoming. I become something all the time. There's no stopping of becoming, only obviously when you become arhat, but you try to, it's you're doing something. So if you're going something or thinking about something, doing, that is your becoming. Is it? That means existence in a simple way?
Yeah, I think it is also existence. So suppose we take an arahant, let's say Venerable Sariputta, he goes on Pindapata, and we can see his existence as a person, and he himself understands the existence of faculties and so forth. Yeah, from moment to moment, there is existence of different things of a human, of a divine, of a. So if the person understand that this existence is neutral, until one attain to parinirvana after his arahantship, I mean the second type of parinirvana, I mean, he is also existing as an arahant from moment to moment. But what does not exist in him is attachment, craving, ignorance. He as a person exists, seeing is existing, listening is existing, tasting, smelling, touching, thinking, his consciousness is existing, but they are not governed by this attachment, this craving, ignorance. They could be taken into one state called unwholesome state, are not existing in those existence of hearing, listening, tasting, and touching, and thinking, even walking, and so forth. Yeah, what you said is really good, because from moment to moment, despite this wholesome and unwholesome deviation, we can expect kind of existence of sun rising, existence of sun setting, existing of different phenomena in the world happens, existence of this process of living until the arhants attain parinibbana. There is existence of himself as well, herself. But what we want to deviate here is that there is existence of karma, existence of these problematic mentalities. That is the problem. But existing of those neutral function is okay.
So existence, like say kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. So existence of bhava, like a particular bhava, for example, so you're in a jhana realm or something. So it's like a bhava. So can it be become like you attach to these different kind of realms? So is it that kama tanha, or maybe vibhava tanha? Are we trying to get rid of this existence? Can it be a subtle form of vibhava tanha? Like obviously kama tanha we can understand what is the craving for existence and what is the craving for non-existence, right? I mean, there are two it's sometimes craving or non-existence is a very difficult to explain, sometimes it's kind of confusing. What is
It
it?
Yeah, I find a lot of enthusiasm in me in explaining those two terms, bhavatanna, vibhavatanna. For me, it is clear, but when I explain it, I don't know whether people understand it, these two terms from my explanation, but I will try. Yes, what you said, understanding kamatanha could be easier than the other two. My way of explaining is that kamatanha is the desire for pleasant things through seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting, and so forth, even thinking. And we want these beautiful things through senses exist without ending, right? We want states to be maintained, states of pleasant seeing, state of existing of beautiful hearing, and we never expect anything to be unpleasant. We want everything to be pleasant. So wishing to have those things over and over again is the desire for existence.
So then you end up in a kama loka, does it?
Indeed.
Okay.
Of course. And
Okay.
when we call rupa bhava and arupa bhava, the two terms, kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha, could be explained very clearly with the feeling.
Okay.
With I take in such a way that these three terms are explained with regard to the feeling. We wish to have pleasant feeling. That's called kama. How does the Buddha explain kama? Piya rupa, kama upasanghita, rajaniya, chakku vinyaya, rupa, and so forth. Whatever we see from eyes should be pleasant, agreeable, and pleasing, and so satisfying our mind. That is called kama through eyes. So kama, desire for kama tanha is such that you expect to have pleasant things. And when we comes to bhava tanha, you want those pleasant things to go forward with you, right?
I see.
Because you expect the pleasant feeling to exist more. You never wish to end it, right? Suppose you are having a very nice lifestyle, and you don't want something negative to happen to your nice cycle of living. If something happen, you worry about it, and you are trying to escape from that. In a normal setting, normal average human beings wish to get out of it, expecting in their head, expecting these pleasant things again. So when something negative happens, clearly when unpleasant feeling arises, the average person tries to reject it and get out of it and expect pleasant feeling again. Vibhava tanha means it's a tanha, it's a form of tanha, it's a form of craving. You dislike unpleasant feeling, but and try to get pleasant feeling. Is a tanha. It is called vibhava tanha in a simple term if we understand it with three types of feeling. So
that makes sense. Yeah, that's easier to explain that way. Thank you.
Yes, that's how I understand vibhava tanha, because in the commentary it is said committing suicide as a to give the commentary gives an example for vibhava tanha. It's committing
extreme.
suicide. Doesn't make any sense.
No, that's a bit extreme, I think.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
It could be included because some people say that I do not want to live anymore because my sweetheart is broken or died, so I'm going to die on, and then they commit suicide either by drinking poison or doing something else. It could be a part of it, but it doesn't make any sense. But when we take the when we take the feeling, we can see what vibhava tanha is. We have unpleasant feeling, of course, in day-to-day living, things never happen in our way sometime. So we experience unpleasant feeling. Then those who have understanding about unpleasant feeling and pleasant feeling and neutral feeling, see that this is a reality of our life. According to the Chaturarya Satya, Four Noble Truth, Buddha never asks us to reject suffering. What has been asked to do is parinyayang parinyatang. With suffering, we cannot reject it. What we can do is having full understanding what suffering is, and the cause of suffering could be eliminated. Not the pleasant feeling could be eliminated, but we can understand how unpleasant feeling arises, and do something with the causes of pleasant or unpleasant feeling. So if we take those teaching as a support, we can understand what Vibhotanha is. It's very subtle, could be complicated when you take it to analyze, but take things positively and look at what exactly this, because when somebody attained to arahantship, he has or she has eliminated or done with these kamatanha, bhavatanha, vibhotanha. He hasn't committed suicide to end vibhotanha. What he has done is he or she understood what unpleasant feeling is.
I think suicide of their consciousness, pretty much.
Yes.
That's what they say. Yeah, existence of consciousness further to Namarupa.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
So, so that he's very clear and very direct to say that these are happening due to cause and conditions. Especially, we are in between bhava and clinging, upadana. Existence of kama upadana, ditya upadana, silabhat upadana, and avidya, what do you call attavad upadana. If you keep them in your mind without doing anything, it means you let them exist, right? If you end kama upadana, ditya upadana, attavad upadana, silabhat upadana, there is no existence at all, according to the Buddha here. Right? We all know the fact that there are some easy places of the formula to break. If you take a long stick, we talk about this, I think 2-3 sessions ago. If you take a stick, you can break the stick in some places of the stick. What are the places you cannot break into? Those places where branches, are gone. In that places you cannot break because they are very hard. But in places where there is no branch, but just only the stick, you can break it. If you take a bamboo, which has those compartments, you cannot break the bamboo from those, cycle like, places, because they are very strong. But you can break the bamboo in between these, in between two, compartments, because it's easier. Like that, in the 12 link formula, there are places you can station your mind for more investigation and understand the subtleties of these facts and break. In each places you can focus, but there are easy places for understand. Right? Let me tell you that. The main cause for upadana, according to this discourse, is tanha, craving. If there is no tanha, let me read that part. It was said, Ananda, with feeling, with craving as condition, there is clinging. How that is so, Ananda, should be understood in this way. If there were absolutely and utterly no craving of any kind anywhere. What kind of craving? No craving for visible form, no craving for sounds, no craving for smell, no craving for taste, no craving for tangibles, no craving for mental objects. So if we do not have craving for any sensory experiences or sensory objects, in that then in that complete absence of craving, with the cessation of craving, would clinging be discerned? Would clinging be arisen? Certainly not, Venerable Sir. Venerable Ananda said. Therefore, Ananda, this is the cause, source, origin, condition for clinging, namely craving. So if we do not have craving for visible objects, again, etc., eventually visible objects, sounds, taste, smell, tangible objects, and thinking, what you call mental objects, then there is no craving. So the craving is very clear now. What is craving? Craving is liking visible objects, liking sounds, liking taste, smell, touch, and mental objects. In other words, Nandi Raga. Nandi is a very nice word because we like what we see, we like what we hear. That is craving. And it is arising and passing absolutely. But our ignorance creates it to catch it as something solid. That's how clinging come into existence.
Is that the same place as you're moving from the second noble truth to the third noble truth? They are getting rid of craving.
Indeed.
And the path is the noble path. So it is where how we describe the four noble truths. Craving is the main cause.
Yes.
Okay.
Of course, yes. In the Four Noble Truth explanation, if you look at Mahasatipatthana Sutta, Dhammanupassana, the sixth section of Dhammanupassana, Pirupang, Satarupang, Ittesa, Nivisamana, Ittesa, Upajamana, Upai. So Buddha is very clear that where we have pleasantness on Rupa, there is the rising of craving. I urge you to read the Four Noble Truth of the Dhammanupassana of the Satipatthana. Buddha is very, very clear with the point that Pirupang Satarupang, craving is arising with pleasant objects from eyes, pleasant sounds, pleasant smell, pleasant taste, pleasant touch, pleasant mental objects. Yeah, when we talk about a rising of dukkha in the second noble truth, Buddha talks about that. But in Dhammacakka Sutta or elsewhere, we don't have this way of explanation like in Satipatthana. In Satipatthana, it is very clear. Pirupang, Satarupang, Ettesa, Tanha, Uppajjamana, Uppajjati. Tanha is arisen when we take pictures as pleasant. And Ettesa Nivisamana Nivisati. Cessation of Tanha could be done also when something arises, we should stop liking for it, liking for that. Yeah, as you said, in the second noble truth, we say the same thing as said in Satipatthana. And in the third noble truth, we see the craving is ceased. Cessation is not anything else but the same craving we started. And how do we do that? It is done in the fourth noble truth. Actually, everything happens in the fourth noble truth. The first what we have to do with the first noble truth is done in the fourth noble truth. What we have to do in the second noble truth should be done in the fourth noble truth. And what we have done in the third noble truth is also done in the fourth noble truth. So if each noble truth is important and could not be taken out, that's why Buddha said that this is the whole teaching I could explain to you. And every bit of Buddha's teaching could be included into four noble truths. But where we stand in order to complete the four noble truth is the fourth noble truth. Even this Paticcasamuppada with links, with the categories should be understood in the fourth noble truth. When we follow the noble eightfold path in the fourth noble truth, we of course do the cessation of, in other words, we complete the third noble truth and also the second and also the first. So I'm going to have another program at 9:30. It's a 2 hours program with some Sri Lankan in Sri Lanka, so that I could not go further in this sutta discussion because I should get ready for that as well. What we discuss is the first part of Mahanidana Sutta. The very word Nidana is a treasure. It's not a small one. It's the biggest one. As you know, understanding Paticcasamuppada is the way to understand the Four Noble Truths. When you understand Paticcasamuppada, it's not only understanding how suffering arises, it is also understanding how suffering is ceases. And then with Paticcasamuppada, we can practice the Dhamma very well because we understand that Sila is being practiced with the right understanding, and right understanding is also renewed with Sila practice, and with Sila practice with right understanding, right Samadhi, the status are taken well and absorbed well, and there again some Panya is renewed and it makes multiple, and then whole noble eightfold path is being practiced. So that is also Paticcasamuppada. So we understand not only suffering arises depending on certain things, but ending of suffering is also dependent on certain things that we practice. So Paticcasamuppada is so deep, and that's why Buddha used the word Mahanidana for this discourse.
And quickly, next time, can we discuss the Namarupa Vijnana concept? I think we bypassed it. I think it's a very important concept with the two Nalakalapi Sutra. We can bring another sutras together.
Yeah.
Next time we'll do that.
We'll do that. Next week, Saturday would be, if I get the calendar, it would be 25th, which is Christmas Day, and I'm okay to do. And if you are okay to participate, I think because of the coronavirus situation, you may not be able to meet your friends like before, like 2019. You have to have the same situation in like in 2020 last year. So I think you are at home, and if you can spend 1 hour or so next Saturday, I would definitely do it. And even if a couple of people come, it's fine, and I will conduct the sutta discussion next week for the last time for 2021, because next Saturday I won't be able to do because of the temple activities here. I might not be able to have the sutta discussion on the first Saturday of 2022, but let's make the last class next week, Saturday, and we'll take Nalakalapi Sutta and other suttas to discuss about Nama Rupa and Vijnana and the relationship between these two. With that in mind, we in today's Sutta studies, we discuss part of Mahanidana Sutta, and I hope this encourage you to find more about Paticampada and also Mahanidana Sutta, and make your Dhamma practice progressive with this. And I wish you good health and peace of mind. May you all have pleasant Dhamma experiences in the next couple of days. Until we see you next week with the Sutta discussion, may you be well, happy and peaceful once again.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.